We stand here this morning on Bundjalung land. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the country that we are on and recognise their continuing connection to the land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to the elders past and present. Today is the 105th anniversary of Remembrance Day, in which we remember when the armistice was signed in World War I. It is the day in which we all remember soldiers who served and died in war and on operational service. You may not know that each year on this day, the Australian War Memorial in Canberra pays their respect to the unknown soldiers who have been killed in war, as well as those who have been identified. Relatives take this day to place poppies on the War Memorial wall.
The red poppy has special significance for all Australians. Worn on Remembrance Day each year, the red poppies were among the first flower in the devastated battlefields in northern France and Belgium in the First World War. Many soldiers believed that the red of the poppy symbolised the blood of their mates soaking the ground. Two Australian women, Lynn Berry and Margaret Knight, this year created a sea of 50,000 poppies that covered the grounds of the Royal Hospital in Chelsea as a tribute to our war veterans. 50,000 people knitted, crocheted and handcrafted the flowers to create a stunning landscape at the recent Chelsea Flower Show. We hope, on a smaller scale, to replicate this amazing and thoughtful contribution to remember the lives of who have been lost in the wars.
Today we think of those who faced terrible conditions and died alone. We imagine their bravery, but do so from the safety of our school, our homes, our country. They fought and died for us, and it is important to remember their sacrifice.
The 11th of November is a time when we remember all of those who died in war. At 11 a.m. on the 11th of November 1918, the guns on the Western Front fell silent after more than 4 continuous years of warfare. The Allied armies had driven the German invaders back, having inflicted heavy defeat upon them over the preceding 4 months. In November, the Germans called for a suspension of fighting in order to secure a peace settlement. They accepted the Allied terms of unconditional surrender.
The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month attained a special significance in the post-war years and has become universally associated with remembrance of those who have died during the war. In Australia and other allied countries, including Great Britain, New Zealand and Canada, the 11th of November became known as Armistice Day, a day to remember those who have died in World War I. The day continues to be commemorated in allied countries.
After World War II, the Australian government agreed to the United Kingdom's proposal that Armistice Day be renamed Remembrance Day to commemorate those who were killed in both world wars. Today, the loss of Australian lives from all wars and conflicts, including Korea, Vietnam and Afghanistan, is commemorated on Remembrance Day.
The army chaplain in France, who heard the cries of joy at 11 a.m. on November 11 as the Great War ended, but could not join as he is standing grief-stricken in front of his 19-year-old soldier's grave. The woman who lost 6 nephews to the fighting but still turned out to celebrate, telling all those around her at Melbourne Parade she was proud of their sacrifices. The digger sent home from the front, but who died of influenza as his ship overnighted in Sydney Harbour before he managed to set foot on our soil. There are 1,000 different stories to recall on Remembrance Day today as we mark the ending of the First World War 106 years ago, and the sacrifices of soldiers since. And despite the growing distance of time, Australians are choosing to remember ever more, despite almost forgetting in the recent years.
Rather, as today melds into tomorrow, we honour the memory of all those men and women who laid down their lives for Australia and made the ultimate sacrifice. Their graves, wherever they be, are a reminder of what we have lost in war and what we have gained. We have lost more than 100,000 lives, but today we remember the stories of bravery and courage.
It is of special significance that we recite the Ode to the Fallen, a poem by English poet Lawrence Binyon to commemorate these soldiers.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you.